Hi everybody. This is going to be kind of an overview of my large RC boat I've got built here. It's going to be some cuts and videos, whatever, but I don't know. 3 people now have said, hey, you should have a YouTube channel, so I figure I should do it. I don't know. Anyway, this is the boat. It's called the Interloper. It's fiberglass and balsa wood and various other bits. It's autonomous. It's got a Pixhawk, and I'll go into all those goodies later. But for now, I'll give you a bit of a rundown. Alright, so this is inside the main hatch. You probably can't see much. But you can kind of see how I've constructed it here. This has all been spray painted gray inside just to kind of make it so if it gets wet it doesn't just fill up with water and get all gross. But basically I built these ribs out of, yeah, this is a good example. I built these ribs to 90 degrees out of each other and then ran a long beam down the center, and then everything was glued down to a sheet of 1/8 inch plywood. It's about half this thickness here. And so then, as ballast and extra strength, I filled this whole bottom here with air gun BBs, and I poured epoxy resin over it. So it's extremely solid bottom. You're never going to puncture this. It's pretty great. And I've got tons of room here, and I'll go over what these are in a bit. But as you can see here, I actually just use the bow as storage. So I've got some, I call them my docking straps, and then a bag of the various gears and stuff. We'll also go into that, but yeah, basically when I take this thing out, I kind of just fill the boat up with all of the goodies I need. It's a convenient carrying case. Here, looking more at the stern end, we've got my Pixhawk control box. This contains the radio, the GPS. You can kind of see. I'll go more in depth in this, but focus. Oh, it doesn't like those reflections. It's supposed, and ideally this would be a waterproof box, but this thing doesn't leak. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit overkill. And then, kind of a view in there of the quote-unquote engine room, even though we'll call it the motor room. But it's two 540 size motors, and they're water-cooled, and they have a thermostatic control, so they're so it won't turn on below 40 degrees C. So I let the motors, cycle between on and off just because I don't want to waste the power, which is a joke. You'll see. But I don't want to waste the power on the water pump. So to get this superstructure off here, there's a little rubber band inside, excuse me, and this actually just conveniently, I didn't design it this way, it just happened, folds up. Now, in an ideal world, all these goodies would be up there, and there'd be a nice connector that came down everything else, but, hindsight is 20/20, and it's already built that way. So in here, you can kind of see all of the electronics. These are waterproof ESCs. I don't know how I lucked out, and I got ESCs which go forwards and reverse with no delay or anything. I gotta find the Amazon review where I found them and buy like 20, because it's so hard to find that. And then I've just got a super cheap servo. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. I'm driving my rudder. And I don't know if I can get a good shot of the rudder tube in here. You can kind of see it. Yeah, it's not really going to work. But yeah, basically there's a chunk of K&S tubing that runs down the back of here. You can kind of see the pump there. This is like a little 12 volt pump. and we've got all of the antennas, because everything with a Pixhawk on it is bristling with antennas. You can also kind of see the water inlets there, down in there. There's one on each side. You can kind of see the outlet there. It looks really cool when it's on the water because it just dribbles water out of here momentarily. It's really cool. Now more for the exterior here. I've got these two propellers here. It's a twin screw. They're counter rotating. These are from Harbor Models. They're beautiful props. And they work quite nicely too. I'm quite a big fan. And yeah, I didn't do the best job cleaning off my prop tubes, but these are K&S brass tubing with pieces of brass drilled out as bushings on either end. And when I do an in-depth interior shot, we'll kind of give more of a view at that. The rudder is 3D printed plastic, which I've glued and then drilled through and tacked with epoxy resin to a brass rod. So there's a whole brass rod in there. This thing ain't ever coming off. It's big, yes, but what's nice is you can see I can cover almost the entire edge of the propeller here. And I mean, this boat turns on a dime, which is awesome because it's rather unwieldy. Kind of coming up, there's really not much else to see. Give it, a nice, give it a nice bow shot, But yeah, so that's a cursory first look. Gonna go prop the camera up somewhere, and you get to see how much of a pain in the butt it is to remove this thing, because I wasn't thinking super far ahead when I did it. Yeah, I don't know how that's framed. Man. Screwdriver. Basically, it comes out, there's 4 screws, one on each corner here. Once again, it's big enough you can just drop the spare parts kind of on the thing. It's pretty awesome. The ones that suck are these, because when you drop them, you ain't ever getting them back. I'd love to do some captain hardware on this. And I'm not gonna look. Trust me. Huh? Ha-ha! Once you get that out, get up under all the cables. There's plenty of them. But it's all set up. It goes and does this. Which I think is pretty neat. So anyway, this is the these are the motor mounts. They're 3D printed out of ABS. You can see here the cooling coils, a nice home-brewed, fancy-dancy little splitter, because the water inlet is down here, which then goes up. You can't even see it, to the pump. And then back down through here, and then each motor, I know it's overkill, but it was fun. Each motor has its own little water outlet on its each side. And then I have a thermostat right here. I don't have it on both because I run both motors at the same time 99% of the time. So if one motor's hot, the other one's probably hot too. And there's one pump on them both anyway, so it's not ideal. I'd rather have 2, but what can you do for stuff you find in your junk box? Alright, so the next thing to kind of show off are these my stuff tubes. So just like on the outside, there is a chunk of brass that's in here, kind of acting as a bushing. And then I have these little caps I made here, and I just stuffed this full of Vaseline. You can kind of see some in there. And that performs makes the seal, and also provides good lubrication. When it gets hot, it kind of runs out, so you kind of have to fill it up every once in a while. But I don't know, it works great for boats this size. I don't know if I'd go much bigger than this, but for boats this size, it's pretty much ideal. Alright, next we've got the gearboxes. These are, it's an 11 tooth to a 20 tooth. I don't want to do the math in my head, but these are Module 1 gears. I have no idea where I found them, but I found Module 1 gears for a 3.175 millimeter shaft, or 1/8 inch shaft. It was a flippin' miracle. So, hope I never ruin those gears. And there's, it's just one on each side. And all the red stuff is because I used to have red 3D printed gears in here, which turned round after a few running hours. There's a good shot of the pump. It's just a 12-volt pump. Yeah, I have no idea what the specs are on it, but it sure works. Remember I was saying you can lose them? There you go. There's a screw I dropped trying to put that cover on the other day. A pain in the butt. Who designed this thing? Alright, so this is the Pixhawk. It's in here. I've got the GPS module and then the actual driver. I'm using this thing's intended for drones, so it's quite overkill for what I'm doing. Sure gives me lots of data though. But this is all inside of a thing I got from Target. You can see all the rest of the electronics down in there. But basically this is the power inlet, and I found this handy dandy little bracket on Thingiverse. And then I have all my output brackets over here. And then this is for the thermostat thermistor, and this is for the pump. And then these are all of my servo outputs. And I wired out everything, so these are the antennas. These, the big ones, are the antennas for the RC radio, and this is the telemetry radio antenna. Now, you can kind of see in here the thermostat. Oh, I guess I could be not lazy and just take the top off, but this right here is one of those cheap little thermostat boards you can get on Amazon. They're pretty nice, honestly. You can see inside of here I've got my telemetry board and my RC radio. It's just a D4 2R of FR Sky, old drone bits, and then the whole thing is screwed to this chunk of wood, which, here, I'll show what's cool about this. I'm actually proud of this. I'm not proud of the fasteners, but I am proud of the rest of it. Yeah, this video is probably going to come out junk because the laundry is running in the background too. But, I don't know if you can see in here, I've got these rails that are kind of supported, and then there's that little notch. Oh, that little notch that's kind of right there. So this board, whole assembly, kind of drops down in here. You got to make sure to push the antennas down. I actually really regret getting big high gain antennas for this. Then the whole thing, where'd that antenna go? There it is. Whole thing just kind of slides right up into place. I just wish it went like click or something. But yeah, anyway, do a reverse of the thing I just did. So, remember I was talking about running low on battery? Yeah. So, this is the battery pack that I run with this. It is 6, I think they're 9 amp hour, 12 volt sealed lead acid batteries. They're heavy as hell. This pack here weighs about 50-ish pounds. It's the majority of the ballast on the boat. Without this, the boat actually floats so high in the water that the propellers aren't even underwater. So basically I just figured if I need ballast, may as well add more batteries. So this right here is awful, honestly. This is what makes putting the boat in and out of the water kind of scary. I've actually almost fallen into the water numerous times while lowering this down from a dock. The best way to do this is to kind of wade in and kind of slowly lower it in. It's actually what these straps are for. I wrap them around the edge of the boat and use that to lower me in. But yeah, considering underway at full throttle, the boat draws, I don't know, 5 amps max. I mean, we've got, what? It's 2, 4, 6, 8, almost a whole day of battery here. It's just insane. This thing is, yeah. This thing's a good long-range electric ship. And it's, I think it's kind of cool, because, I mean, you're moving around 60 pounds at about walking speed, and you can do it all day. Anyway, I'm just rambling about batteries. So, that's what these little tabs are for here. Because this is so heavy, it's really hard to move around once it's been put down. And the spacing fore and aft, about astern, sorry, doesn't matter that much, but port starboard, it makes a big difference. You can see it, and the Pixhawk just amplifies that fact. You can see how bad it is. So I glued on these little tabs here, which kind of help me guide the battery in a centered spot in the boat. And I don't strap this in at all, because let's be honest, if this wants to move, it's gonna move, and I'd rather it just fell out than rip bits of the boat with it. And if the boat ever sinks, the boat is still gonna be more buoyant and stay down anyway. So yeah, these batteries are kind of crazy. But yeah, that's the battery pack. As you can see, I've got plenty of room for other junk. Yeah, I don't know, it looks kind of pretty up there, but yeah. And so, when it's all the way under, when it's ready to go, I'll put this little lid on it here, which just friction taps into place. I need to paint it and come up with some type of locking mechanism and way to pick it up, but for now I was using a chunk of styrofoam, but then it blew away. So, but I mean, you know, this can actually be for its intended purpose, which I don't have any beer. What's wrong with me? Anyway, the idea for this boat originally was to carry a 12-pack of beer around for you while you're kayaking and do it autonomously. And I think this will do the job. This right here, just screw some koozies onto it and you're good to go. Alright, well, that's the Interloper for you. There'll definitely be some more other footage here about kind of showing it underway, the controls, the interface, everything, but that's the physical boat. It's kind of insane. Take care.